What's going on? Welcome to the first weekly roundup. This is the new format that I will be using to post album reviews. It'll ideally be once a week on YouTube, featuring all the albums from a specific week that dropped that I thought were significant enough to review. My thoughts on them, the scores, some songs that I'm taking with me for the summer. And I mean, that's the format. This is the week of May 5th, 2023. So we're going to be talking about Conway the Machine, Destroy Lonely, Billy Woods, and some other pretty decent drops that, came out that week. Some exciting stuff, some shit stuff like Destroy Lonely. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, first off, let's start with Griselda Veteran, Conway the Machine's new album, Won't He Do It? It's his third studio album, and I'm going to keep it a little brief for this one. I reviewed this on my page when it came out, but my thoughts haven't changed much. I thought it was super refreshing to hear Conway over this super luxurious, super eerie underground production. It's nothing new to him, but the grandiosity he brought through on these productions were very reminiscent of early Westside Gunn, and I thought it was interesting to hear him tap back into that sound. I know some people were underwhelmed by the soundscape. I was at first too, but even if they're not the best instrumentals to rap over, they sure are beautiful sometimes. Like Monogram, huge standout for me. One of my favorite tracks on the whole album. That instrumental is pure bliss, pure elegance, and Conway does his thing over it. In terms of rapping, we're not getting much new from Conway. He's taken down the ferocity, taken down the intensity. He's going for a lot smoother flows, focusing more on his pen game and his delivery, making sure his punchlines hit and that his rhyme schemes are complex. Which, again, nothing new from Conway. We've come to expect this. We know we're getting this in his records. So, just Conway doing his thing, which is one of the main issues with Won't He Do It. It's not ambitious. We're not getting too much personal content from Conway, which I've really loved in his last two records, God Don't Make Mistakes and From King to a God. There's two best records in my opinion, and how personable he is in those and how vulnerable he is what makes them great. Won't He Do It is definitely missing that. And he doesn't really make up for it with much else, which is why I would give Won't He Do It a 7.5 out of 10. Still in the high end of Conway's discography, but it was a little disappointing for his standards and given everything he did on God Don't Make Mistakes. All right, so next up, let's talk about Road to Casablanca by Armani White. Armani White is one of the hottest upcoming rappers in the game right now. He is 26 years old. He has a zany, instantly recognizable flow and delivery. He's huge right now for his song Billie Eilish that's been blowing up for the last year and has really propelled him into stardom. And since then, Road to Casablanca is the first major project he's dropped. So we're really going to get to see what he's about in this. It's a 9-track long project. And yeah, let's talk about it. Production side of things, Armani isn't bringing much to the table. A lot of this track list features production similar to what he has on his breakout hit, Billie Eilish. Very bouncy, very fun and vibrant production. It's not necessarily bad instrumentals, it's just generic and repetitive. He has, 3-4 songs that sound like repeats or attempts at Billie Eilish instrumentals just with that bounce and that beat drop, that same type of energy that he bought on that song. He's trying to replicate, which is fine, but it doesn't always go over well. He does switch up the style on production to try and tap into a more poppy, more mainstream appealing, more popular sound. It does not go well. Armani White, his singing still needs work. With auto-tune, he does not sound that great. And the pop tracks he does have on Road to Casablanca are some of the most soulless and boring pop rap cuts I have heard to date. Armani is bringing a unique style to the game right now. He reminds me, honestly, a lot of Ski Mask the Slump God when he was coming up. Very niche rapper. He's got his thing that people come to him for his flows, his deliveries, the kind of outlandish production. Obviously, as of now, I don't know if Armani White will see some of the highs that Ski Mask the Slump God saw, but I think of them as two very similar rappers in their style and in the sense that they're kind of niche rappers, kind of gimmick rappers. Like, you kind of go to them for one thing. And Armani's gimmick definitely still needs some work, though. He does bring a lot. Like I said, 9 9 song project. It's half hits, half misses. That's straight up, what he came through with. Half of the songs are bangers. He's doing his thing, and half of them are too generic or just annoying, honestly, because Armani's delivery does fringe on becoming annoying on certain songs, and he does cross that threshold at points. So similar to Ski Mask, the biggest draw of Armani, at least for me, is his flow. He does have this way of rapping where it sounds like he could rap over anything. He won't stop rapping. He's got kind of that endless flow. He's got that thing going on that people love, and I love it. It's his biggest draw. It's why I enjoy this album as much as I do, which quite frankly isn't that much, but I enjoy it a lot. There are a lot of songs I come back to. Goated has been one of my favorite songs of the year since it dropped. Straight banger, great Denzel Curry verse. Big Bet with Fivio Foreign, another song where we see the feature be the best part of the song. Like Fivio Foreign, like Denzel, is the best part of that song. But Armani White does his thing. It's not like he gets washed. He is making the song as good as it is. It's just he's not as good as Fivio or Denzel on those songs. We also get the pleasure of seeing the Billie Eilish Legends mix, which features verses from Ludacris, Busta Rhymes, and Nore, or N-O-R-E, however you guys read that. Preferably, I don't care for his verse. I'm skipping the Nore verse when that song comes on. But Luda and Busta both give very, very good verses late into their careers. It's crazy to see how good those two MCs could rap in 2023, this late into their career. Absolutely stole the show. Great bars the whole time, and really breathed new life into that song. The Legends mix of Billie Eilish is the outro to the album. In my opinion, I think of the Legends mix as a type of bonus track. I think of Proud of Me as the outro, which is Armani White's strongest song yet. It's got a nice building boom bap instrumental. It's got like those hopeful keys to it. It's got that nice uplifting spirit as Armani White raps about his come up story, raps about what he's been through, but also what he's gonna do, how the success he's gotten feels. And this is the most vulnerable and the most open and the most personable we've seen Armani White yet in his career. He's dropping the veil, he's dropping the disguise, he's dropping the gimmick, he's dropping the Billy. He is letting you see where he's at and talking about what his aspirations are, what matters to him, and who matters to him. And that song is where you see Armani White's potential shine through. Because there is no doubt he has potential. Will he fulfill it? Yet to be seen. But it's the songs like that where if he comes like that on his next album, it will be good. There's no doubt about it. It will be good. Finally, one more track I wanted to mention from the album. Rob Your Ex. Shameless. Absolutely shameless. Look back at it. A Boogie knockoff. I'm not a big A Boogie fan. I think he's pretty bad. But being from New York, of course, as soon as that song starts, all I hear is Look Back at It. All I hear is the synths, the dun 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 dun. Like, that's just the shitty auto-crooning, singing, the cringy lyrics, and it's missing all that flair, all that emotion, and all of that just catchiness that A Boogie put into Look Back at It. And it really is it's a really shitty moment for the album. It's really not great. Overall, Road to Casablanca was very much a mixed bag. Like I said before, we're looking at a project where half of the songs are bangers and the other half are bad, generic, boring, whatever word you want to use. They're not stuff I ever want to listen to again. They're not stuff I want to hear Armani White attempt again. But assuming by the title and the fact that this isn't technically his debut album or like his big... I think of Road to Casablanca as like an EP project, getting ready for the album type thing. I'm assuming the big album is Casablanca. Time will tell, I guess, and I hope Armani White is able to channel some of his great flows, some of his hidden lyrical ability that he doesn't tap into much, and some of his amazing charisma that he brings to the track, his great track. So next up, we're going to be talking about the best album to come out this week, Maps by Billy Woods and Kenny Segal. This 17-song album is a perfect addition into the prolific, abstract, underground hip-hop artist, underground legend, Billy Woods' catalog. He is an artist, rapper, someone that I'm still getting into someone that I'm always thinking, man, I gotta listen to more of this guy. He dropped 2 great albums last year, Aethiopes and Church, and Maps falls somewhere in between them, in my opinion. Let me just say, Kenny Segal did an excellent job with the production. He did an excellent job switching up the soundscape for Billy, at least for me. Like I've said, not too familiar with him. I've only heard this album, Aethiopes and Church. Both of those dropped last year. But in comparison to those two, Kenny is bringing a lot more refined soundscape, a lot more palatable, though it still has the lingering eeriness and isolation and desolosity of Aethiopes, of Church, of his standard sound, of what we expect from Billy. We're still getting that, but we're getting faster paced drums. We're getting a lot of horns. We're getting a lot of jazz influence from Kenny on the production. And overall, he is making a soundscape that is more accessible to people who aren't typically Billy fans. I think this is a great album for if you are someone who hasn't listened to Billy Woods, but you want to get into that great underground, great abstract hip hop sound. This is the one for you. He himself is doing a good mix of bringing ferocious and meditative flows. This album, normally we expect his meditative, more poetic style, and he does that excellently here, does a very good job executing, but is also able to bring in some more fast rapping, some more fast-paced flows, higher tempos, and it goes over well. We know Billy is a great rapper and has an amazing pen game, and he doesn't slow down what he has to, or he doesn't water down what he has to say just to match the tempo of a song. He is still bringing some of the most creative concepts, some of the most intricate and complex lyricism and double entendres in the game right now. He could just do it faster than most people could even say some shit. Him, Billy brings a good array of feature artists for this album that stand out, all deliver great features. There's not a bad feature on the album. Of course, Elucid's here, for those of you who don't know. Underground hip-hop group Armand Hammer, comprised of Billy Woods and Elucid. Again, very prolific, very loved, very huge. I mean, huge in the underground, but very respected. So we got his buddy Elucid's there. We get a great feature from Kelly Chris. We get a great chorus from Sam T. Herring on the single that came out for the album. Gonna be honest, I forget what it's called, but great chorus from him. Mention some standout verses from more underground legends like A$AP Rock and Danny Brown, two of the best lyricists in the game, doing their thing. Billy Woods on par with them, delivering the same type of soul food, same type of spirituality, same type of knowledge that these guys are bringing. Content matter, it's all there. It's all what you expect from Billy. He is rapping about his philosophies, and he is rapping about his qualms with the current world, the issues that there are, and how they affect him and his life. Like I said, Maps is the best album to come out this week. Definitely one of the best to come out this year. Very solid record, and I think it will be one of my most played Billy Woods records, considering everything I said about the accessibility. But again, with Billy Woods, we do have to face the fact that a large issue, despite how accessible this album is in comparison to his old ones, it does still have a tinge of unaccessibility. Even for myself, someone who is a fan of Billy Woods, this isn't an album I'm throwing on in the car. That there's not tracks that I'm at the gym listening to. It's tracks that I'm listening to by myself, but shit. But for people who are still trying to get into Billy, people who may not have heard of Billy Woods, and there's still going to be those issues you have with Billy, the unorthodox, abstract flows, sounds, instrumentations he's bringing. That's still not a very mainstream sound, not a sound people are willing to bring in, and not a sound that you could just get into. It is an acquired taste, and it's Billy's thing. So there are always going to be those issues with his albums. There's always going to be the issues of a little bit of dullness and boringness, which, again, happens when you have Billy. I don't want to say it's his style to be boring, because obviously it's not his style to be boring, but he has these very meditative, very poetic flows. He has this intricate, complex lyricism that you're going to have to take a few listens to get the message he's trying to give you. It's not super digestible. You got to come through and be willing to read through the lyrics, be willing to listen to this, to understand it. Otherwise, it's just going to be good background noise, but you're not going to get what Billy is trying to tell you. Getting these meditative flows, the deadpan delivery that Billy's known for, there is an element of dullness, a lack of excitement. It feels like something's missing throughout the album. And to be fair, that's really my only major flaw. A flaw I have with most Billy Woods most records in this lane, the inaccessibility, the digestibility, and the level of entertainment you keep throughout the album. Because stuff like that comes down to how much you enjoy, how much you're acclimated with the acquired taste that Billy is. But it's always something worth checking out. Again, especially Kenny Segal, great instrumentation. This is my favorite produced Billy album that I've heard, and I really think it's worth a listen. If you're someone who wants to get into the abstract hip-hop scene, if you're someone who is looking to expand your taste in hip-hop music, Maps by Billy Segal and Kenny Woods is a good place for you to start. And I will be giving it an 8.0 out of 10. A musical business aspect makes sense. It's all about making money. That's why Destroy Lonely, all these other rappers are making music to make money. Best way to do it, drop a long ass album, trying to capitalize on one style. It's fine. Nothing morally wrong about that. It's just you are not going to have as good of an album as you could. You are going to drop a bad project when you are trying to cash in. And that's what happened with Lone. We got a weak album. We got recycled bars. We got the same boring subject matter that not only Lone, but the whole subgenre, all of mainstream hip-hop has to offer right now. Talking about geeking on drugs, talking about fucking all these girls, talking about designer. It's fine, but it's nothing new, and it's not anything innovative. Lone's not using any super, creative lyrics, any super complex lyrics. It's all very elementary, which again is fine. It comes with the territory, but it's not going to make for a super good album. Choruses are weak. Most of them sound similar, use similar cadences, not very memorable. Not a single earworm on this track list, which is an issue in a Destroy Lonely album. There's no songs that have stuck with me, no songs that I've had, just playing in my head, no songs that I've wanted to go back to since re-listening to the album. Very low replay value for me, not something I plan on revisiting probably ever again, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait for later into the year or next year to see if Lone really does have it like that, because No Stylist did make me think he was going to be one of these guys to elevate the sound that Carti created, the sound that Carti birthed. And now, we'll wait and see. Overall, due to the dragging quality of the album, the extremely excruciating, painfully long track list, the long listen, and the lack of any content, any innovation, and anything really of interest, this album is devoid of any points of interest to me. And the sound that Lone is going for, the sound he's cashing in on, is not bad. It is not an inherently bad sound. It's good music. Well, for a couple songs, it's good music. It's not like, oh, this is trash, turn it off. But listening it to that many times, listening to the same shit, doesn't matter what it is, it's just going to numb your mind, and it's going to give you a pretty garbage album like this. And for those reasons, I will be giving If Looks Could Kill a 3.7 out of 10. For a good song like Mr. Policeman and its soulful, or Mr. Police and its soulful instrumental, its nice keys, all the stuff it's got going for it, is that the moments like these are few and far in between. We are getting a lot of hype-fueled trap banger attempts that aren't sitting well. We are getting a lot of choruses, a lot of because IDK's been popping into his singing bag a lot more recently, as well as his trap bag. Both of those increase with every release he does. He's singing more. He's got the trap more. And with the singing, we're getting a lot more poppy, a lot more layered instrumentals, a lot more, radio-friendly instrumentals, a lot more Spanish-influenced instrumentals at times, too. And IDK's singing is not bad, but the tracks that he's doing this with are very generic, very much not my style, and very much stuff I don't deem as good music, just very much bottom of the barrel. IDK making a song, filling time on the album. And I can't there's a lot of tracks that I don't think of them as much more than this, as sad as it is to say. Rapping stances, you know what to expect from IDK. Like I said before, he's a solid, consistent, all-around rapper. Even when he's not at his best, you still are getting clever punchlines from him. You still are getting intense flows from him, and you still are getting emphatic deliveries from him, even at his worst. And though F65 is not his worst, those are the highlights of the album. What we expect is the bare minimum of IDK, which is a little saddening, but that does mean there's quality found in this record. There are good raps, and there is enjoyability here. This is not a bad record. It's just weak and has some glaring flaws. But IDK's rapping is not one of them. IDK, as a performer, is not really one of them. The main issues with this album are structural. This is like when I was describing Is He Real and As I was describing Is He Real and his 2021 record, that's his best. There are very much themes, concepts, cohesion, consistency with them. There is, IDK exploring his faith, the idea of faith, all this stuff. You got IDK exploring his past, exploring his traumas, and seeing how that made him into the person he is now. But with F65, there are a lot of cool stuff thrown into it, but nothing is ever gone into deeply. Like I said with Mr. Police, he's talking about all this heavy shit and all this important shit, but he's not diving too deep into it, and he's not expanding it past that song. It's kind of just like a thought. This album is a very stream of consciousness album where IDK is just rapping what he's thinking about, stuff that's on his mind, but he's not tapping into it too much. We see him rapping as well about gun control, other political issues, also a lot about his life. Again, IDK likes to rap about, obviously, with trap beats. He's a big flexing rapper. He's flexing a lot, but he's also rapping about his come up and all that. But for the most part, it's nothing new, and it's also nothing deep. And it's okay to explore themes you already have if you're exploring them deeper. But when you're going through stuff you've talked about before, and you're not going through it, you're just rapping about it a little bit, you're just glossing over it. And, that's an L. That's not much. That is very weak, subject matter. That's a very weak stuff to build your album around, especially if you're not going to be diving into these concepts and just glossing over them as to make a point, as if you are saying something. When IDK is not saying much here. He's not saying anything profound, anything new, just reiterating stuff he's already said, almost as if a reminder. That's how some of these themes kind of are, the heavier themes like police brutality, like that he's talked about before, the loss of his parents that he's talked about before. He's not talking about them in any new ways or any innovative ways, and it's almost as if a reminder that these things happen, and these are stuff that IDK cares about, and it's a part of his music, but it's not something he's willing to explore on this album, just something he's willing to bring up, something he's willing to mention. With the formatting of F65 that really hold it back, because this is a 22-track album, but it's not very long. All of the songs are short, and it blurs the line, first of all, between which of these are like any types of skits and shit like that versus actual songs. Because sometimes you'll get, a minute long of IDK rapping, or you'll get like 2 minutes long of a radio skit. And, it's fine. There's nothing at all wrong with that, but it very messes with it. It fucks up the pacing of the track list. It doesn't even mess with it. It's very hard to tell what is supposed to be any type of significant points of this album. It all kind of just passes by you. All these different ideas IDK is bringing up, they kind of just pass by you. It's kind of just stuff that happens in one ear and out the other. Bang, boom, done. With these short tracks is the fact that IDK is not developing these songs. Like how I said he glosses over the ideas he has, a lot of these songs just pass as thoughts and not good ones. It's just, like I said, coming and going. It's just the song star IDK is having his best ideas, which is unfortunate because none of them are able to fully come to fruition. Again, a lot of good ideas. Like I've been saying about this album, there's a lot of good ideas. They're just not given the proper time to develop. Overall, F65 feels like it has a lot of filler on it. There's a lot, this is an album with very few songs I'm returning to. I can't name one off the top of my head that is on my playlist that I've listened to since I reviewed this album. It's a very forgettable album, but it's not bad due to IDK's rapping performances, his good punchlines. He definitely salvages this album and makes it solid. This doesn't harm his catalog too badly. coming in at a 5.8 out of 10 for F65. But it does leave a lot to be desired, and it makes me worry about what IDK's next project will bring. Normally, I am someone who expects quality from him, and now we know it's possible that he won't deliver to that same bar we had for him. Final album of this week, we will be talking about Jalil's Real Raw. For those of you guys who don't know, Jalil is another upcoming rage trap rapper. I like, the most generic, most common type of upcoming rappers that are blowing right now. The scene everyone's checking for. And Jalil is someone that does manage to stand out in a sea of Cardi clones, in a sea of Ken Carson clones. We see Jalil not doing much different production-wise. Same type of generic, shitty beats, whatever. They have that special energy, that aesthetic, the synths. They have whatever. They have the shit people love. It's enjoyable sometimes, but it's nothing new. But what makes Jalil stand out from the competition is his voice. The way he raps with such intensity. He's yelling all the time. Jalil's a big yelling rapper, but his voice is like when someone tries to imitate Cardi. Like when someone's making fun of Cardi, they use Jalil's voice. They use that like high-pitched screaming type thing, but he actually uses it as a tool, and it's what makes his music interesting. It's why he has fans, because no one else is rapping with like this super, super high pitch, but also really aggressive voice, really aggressive delivery. It's very different than a lot of stuff that's going on right now. However, as expected, that does mean lyricism here. There's not much. We're getting very shitty lyrics. Obviously, with Jalil, with the, comes with the terrain. We're not expecting this. We are not expecting good lyrics from Jalil, obviously. But he's an interesting guy. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the video of him, like, deadlifting a fan at a concert. Bro's fucking ripped. Like, Jalil does not make good music, but bro is ripped. He's doing a lot right now, so shout out him for that. But, yeah, Real Raw, production, generic. What you come to Jalil for is him as a rapper, his inflections, his deliveries, his flows, his ad-libs, his aesthetic. Because all this shit it's slightly different than everyone else's. It's all reliant on his different voices and inflections that he uses. That's what separates him. That's what makes him different, and that's what keeps him different. That's why I'm talking about him right now, and there are other rappers in the same lane that are at the same height of Jalil, the same level of blowing up as Jalil, that I'm not going to talk about. But Jalil is making waves because he's doing something different. So let's get into it. A lot about generic bland instrumentals. He does incorporate a lot of guitars, like I said about Destroy Lonely, but differently. They're more hype placements of guitars. I feel like Loans was a lot of like mood setting guitars, a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of like moody guitars. But Jalil, it's all hype. Jalil is all hype. It's all rage. It is all energy. That is his whole style. That is his whole sound. It is based on his energy, on his character, on his aesthetic, which he's doing a good job with. But again, rapping wise, we're not getting much too creative, much different from the rest of the scene. We're not getting anything innovative. Solid music is not like garbage. It's not trash, but it's expected and it's nothing really new. But he does have these really quirky flows, that weird, I don't even like, the inflections he hits when he raps are so different than anyone else's. I don't know how to describe it. It's very unique. Again, not necessarily the greatest or biggest attention grabber, but it's different. It's his thing. It's what he's known for. It up on a track like Confetti. Confetti is like I said, he's switching it up, but it's just a drill song. He's just tapping into another lane of popularity. Generic drill song. Cool that he's switching it up, that it's 17 tracks, and it's not all rage trap. It's not all the same shit. So that's a plus for the album. Like I was saying, the biggest draw of Jalil is his vocals, his really unique style of delivery, style of rapping. That's his thing. The issue with his vocals, with his inflections, is that they're too much sometimes. They get annoying. They get obnoxious. He oversaturates himself with auto-tune. It sounds bad at points, which is to be expected when you rap in a way that your appeal relies on how you rap, how you sound. You are going to cross that line of becoming annoying when you're doing that. And Jalil does it enough. He crosses that line. He is bad enough. You know, he's not doing too much. On this track list is the song Feel Good. Feel Good is another like upbeat type banger. It's very high energy, all that. It's Jaleel doing his thing, but it's a lot less saturated. It's a lot less processed. The vocals are stripped back, and Jaleel is rapping like he's rapping. He's flowing. He's rapping like he's rapping. He's not rapping like he's trying to fit into that Cardi wave, the rage trap wave. He's not rapping like he's trying to put on. He's just rapping because he can. He showcases he has that ability, and it's good to know because Jaleel seems like a cool guy. I like his whole aesthetic. His music, I don't care for. I don't think it's good, but if he raps like this, if he starts making music like he does on Feel Good, then maybe he will step it up and evolve as he continues to progress throughout his career because he is young. I don't know exactly how old he is, but Jaleel's a young guy and he's got a lot of room to grow. And Real Raw has its issues. It's definitely a weak project, very generic, and like a couple of the other albums I talked about. Nothing I'm coming back to, nothing standing out to me. But Jaleel does a good job of making the album entertaining with his deliveries, with the stuff he's saying, his funny punchlines, and just with his aesthetic. And that's enough for me, Real Raw, 4.2 out of 10. Not an inherently bad album, but it's not good. Guys, thank you for staying all the way through the end of the video. If you did, if you're still here, I appreciate you. I appreciate the overwhelming support you guys been giving me, and I appreciate you guys staying with me this whole time. This is just the beginning. This is the first weekly roundup. Comment down below a better name. It's a pretty stupid name, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty lazy. I want to change it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of these albums. If you've listened to them, what do you think? Do you want to check them out? I mean, I know a lot of you guys probably listen to that alone. Trash it in the comments. Maybe I'll drop a better album next time. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Peace.